Students are demanding the removal of a Price professor. We'll take you to the protest and hear from the professor himself.
Sexual assault hotlines have been very busy after Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation hearings. USC has its own way of helping victims.
And a catastrophic disaster has taken hundreds of lives in Indonesia. A student from that country says more relief efforts are needed.
Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
No more! Time's up! No more! Time's up! No more! Time's up! No more!
He should know what he's getting into. He's a job candidate. Let him know.
Passions are running high on campus after sexual assault allegations against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Good evening, I'm Trevor Sahaki.
And I'm Nikki Walker. Students protested today after a professor replied to an email chain saying sometimes accusers lie. Reporter Claire Heddles was at the protest.
Time's up! No more! Time's up! No more! Time's up! No more!
About 40 students gathered in front of USC Price School of Public Policy today to protest an email sent by Professor James Moore. Students received an email inviting them to a discussion about sexual violence on campus. Professor Moore responded to everyone on this email thread and said, quote, "Accusers sometimes lie."
But I responded to the element that said, believe the accuser. And that smacks of victim-centered investigations and trauma-informed techniques, which I think primarily are intended to make it impossible for anyone to mount a defense.
In response, students held a demonstration asking Dean Jack Knott to fire James Moore.
For once, I wasn't going to turn my anger into tears, and I was going to turn it into action to say, no, men are going to be held accountable for their words, for bullying and harassing students who are survivors of sexual violence.
Meckling is among 4 sexual assault survivors who shared their experiences with the group. After these speeches, the students tried to walk to the dean's office to deliver their signs. Just moments ago, there were 2 Department of Public Safety officers standing in front of these doors behind me at USC Price School of Public Policy, preventing students from going in to give letters and signs to Dean Knott regarding an email from Professor James Moore.
Time's up! No more! Time's up! No more! Time's up! No more!
The dean came down and thanked the students for voicing their concerns. Both students and faculty hope the demonstration will make a difference in the future.
The job as the administration is to be there for us. Without us, there would be no institution. And this is clearly what we're believing in, and we need to show it.
Claire, thank you so much for that report. But you were also at the protest, so can you give us a little bit of insight on what that experience was like?
So emotions were clearly running high. People were very passionate, particularly after the Kavanaugh hearings. We had 4 students that shared their own experiences of sexual assault. So it was both emotional and motivated and driven towards a specific goal of firing James Moore.
Yeah, and then when they were not allowed to, the protesters were not allowed to go up to the dean's office, how was the energy like there?
So the organizer was surprised by not being able to go up to the dean's office, and the Department of Public Safety officers told her that they could escort only 2 people up to the dean's office, which she protested and said, no, we all have something to say, and demanded that the dean come down. And what we did not see is that the dean did not come down for a few moments, and there was some interchange between faculty trying to defend the dean and the protesters pretty passionately requesting that the dean come down and listen to what they're saying. And then eventually he did come and speak with them.
Well, Claire, thank you so much for joining us. I'm really glad you had that report for us.
Thank you.
Back to you, Trevor.
The National Sexual Assault Hotline saw a drastic increase in calls over the weekend. Annenberg Media's Taylor Elliott has more on the reason behind the sudden rise and USC's response.
The consequences will extend long past my nomination.
When Dr. Christine Blasey Ford stepped forward with her account of attempted sexual assault by Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, sexual assault hotlines across the country saw a 147% increase in calls. Kavanaugh continues to deny all allegations. One office on campus is trying to do its part by educating students about the confidential resources available to victims of sexual assault at USC.
And we're definitely trying to bring more awareness to RSVP because I notice a lot of students don't actually know where we're located or what we do.
The USC Relationship and Sexual Violence Prevention Services is located on the 3rd floor of the Engelman Student Health Center. They offer a wide array of resources, including a hotline where students can call and speak to trained counselors. Students are encouraged to call the hotline anytime at 213-740-4900.
Late reporting and not telling anyone, keeping their silence is very characteristic of sexual assault victims. And it's one of the things that we work hard to change, because we really feel that victims should have immediate support and help, with this kind of traumatic experience.
The UCLA Rape Treatment Center in Santa Monica is also available for free 24-hour assistance and medical care to USC students. Both USC and the Rape Treatment Center encourage anyone who has been a victim to reach out for support. For Annenberg Media, I'm Taylor Elliott.
The Provost's office announced the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights will hold an open community meeting at USC regarding sexual assault allegations against Dr. George Tyndall. While Tyndall has denied all allegations, the OCR is investigating USC for potential Title IX violations due to the university's response to complaints about the former Engelman gynecologist. The OCR will hold the first community meeting next Wednesday from 5 to 8 p.m. The meeting is open to all students, staff, and alumni and will be held at Taper Hall. Individual appointments are also available through email or phone call.
The number of confirmed dead in Indonesia is now more than 800. Officials expect the number to get higher. Friday's massive earthquake triggered an 18-foot tsunami that washed over the island of Sulawesi.
Dan tim dokter dari rumah sakit Undata.
With little warning, people were unable to leave the island. According to local officials, sirens didn't go off and text message alerts failed to send. A warning system donated after the devastating 2004 tsunami wasn't working. Residents living in the city of Palu were hit hardest by the tsunami.
It'd be great if, they could invest more on these technologies, because natural disaster itself is inevitable, but I think they could take further measures to better prepare the safety of the people.
Rescuers continue to look for survivors under collapsed buildings. A mass burial is planned to prevent the spread of disease.
Today, the government began deporting people whose H-1B visas are still pending. International students who are graduating soon are very worried.
You have this transfer from USCIS, you're seeking a benefit, and that's actually going to make you eligible for removal or deportation, which has historically not been the case. If you sought a benefit with USCIS and you were denied that benefit, that was the end of the story. But now USCIS is going to be referring people to ICE to be deported.
After graduation, international students are eligible for optional practical training, or OPT. That's a temporary employment program. Students have 1 year after graduation to either get an H-1B visa through a lottery system or get deported.
It's on from there on forward. There are real consequences of not getting a job, not being able to repay the loan.
It is a lottery system to begin with, so you can't guarantee that you're going to get the visa in the first place. So it's taking the risk of applying for the visa and then having that risk of being deported before you get it, or if you don't get it at all.
I'm not on the H-1B yet, but I hope to apply for it once I graduate. And rules like this just make it more scary to stay in the country and to kind of keep our status valid.
USC has one of the largest international student populations in the U.S. More than 11,000 are currently enrolled.
Governor Jerry Brown signed over 100 bills this weekend that could affect you.
USC Marshall is prepping its largest group of female corporate leaders for the real business world.
Robots may be taking over the manufacturing industry in the future, but Mayor Garcetti is making sure the city stays on top of the tech industry.
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 5 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Got a quarter?
This weekend, Governor Jerry Brown signed or vetoed 183 bills.
But one signature in particular received some pushback from the White House.
The net neutrality bill prohibits telecom companies from slowing or blocking internet traffic.
The U.S. Justice Department sued California yesterday, just hours after this bill was signed.
This is really unprecedented for the chief law enforcement of the United States to come out to California and act more like Fox News than a law enforcement officer. This is a political stunt.
The Trump administration says this law is illegal because states can't regulate interstate commerce. California is one of 4 to pass net neutrality bills after the FCC changed the policy nearly 1 year ago.
Brown also signed a stack of bills on Friday to toughen gun restrictions. This follows Florida Governor Rick Scott's bill in March that raises the minimum age for buying long guns. Most Californians under 21 can't buy guns starting next year. Brown also imposed a lifetime firearm ban on people convicted of domestic violence charges or who have been involuntarily hospitalized for risk of self-harm. Applicants for a concealed carry permit must go through an 8-hour training, and they must pass a live fire shooting test.
California lawmakers are promoting diversity at the highest levels of in-state business.
Our Angel Vizcarra has more on how a new bill will open up opportunities for women in the business world.
Sophomore business student Rachel Zhang, watching women thrive in the workforce has made all the difference.
Seeing women in such high power positions kind of empowered me that one day I could possibly pursue a career and be at that top level too.
Aspiring businesswomen like Zhang feel strengthened by the signing of California Bill 826. It will require all publicly traded companies in the state to have at least one woman on their board of directors by the end of 2019.
Just seeing that the California government is willing to have female equality in the business field is inspiring, and I guess it encourages us to one day pursue a career in that way too.
California becomes the first state to require publicly held corporations headquartered here to include women on their executive boards. And while California Governor Jerry Brown signing Bill 826 does a lot for women in business, a place like the USC Marshall School of Business has already been doing a lot to fight for equality in the business world. This summer, Marshall became the first major business school in the United States to reach gender parity in its MBA program. And according to Marshall Diversity Advisor Sharoni Little, laws like Bill 826 are necessary.
So when you think about publicly traded institutions and companies, with only 18% of them having women on their board of directors, it suggests that either women are incapable of providing strategic leadership or unimportant. We are actually missing out on the thought leadership and the strategy of women.
Opposition to the bill has included the California Chamber of Commerce. It is concerned that existing board members will be removed solely on the basis of gender. For Annenberg Media, I'm Angel Vizcarra.
Governor Jerry Brown vetoed a measure that would require public universities to provide abortion pills.
He believes that the average 5 to 7 mile distance outside to an outside provider is reasonable. The program would have cost $9.6 million. Brown also vetoed a bill that would allow bars in California to stay open until 4 a.m. instead of the traditional 2 a.m. closing time. Management of the 401 Bar and Grill, just located off of USC's campus, supports the governor's decision.
Honestly, I can say wholeheartedly that I don't think anything good happens after 2 a.m. pretty much ever. So him vetoing this bill really doesn't have an effect on me, and I think it's keeping people safe, especially young people around the bar that I manage.
Senator Scott Weiner proposed the bill in hopes of boosting California's nightlife economy.
Brown rejected the extended drinking hours by saying, quote, "We have enough mischief that happens from midnight to 2 without adding 2 more hours of mayhem." Well, Trevor, we know a lot's changing in our government, but let's see what's changing in our weather.
Let's check in with our weather anchor Draco Guan for more.
Hey guys, if you look out of the window right now, it's gonna be more cloudy and it's kind of warm, but it's gonna rain. Can you believe it? It's like the first day of October, and for the first chance for the season in Southern California, it's gonna rain. Let's look at the tomorrow in Big Bear. It's 49, and Palm Springs is 75. Kind of chill. And let's look at the tomorrow at Semi Valley 78 and Malibu 64. Our USC is 67. Don't forget to bring a jacket for that. And the last time we had the measurable rainfall in LA was May 21st. After more than 100 days, like rain is back in the forecast. As we can see, like in the middle of the Wednesday, the rain is gonna got the highest. We got the highest chance of the rain. And the last time we had the measurable rainfall is, like I just said, is from the May. And the reason for that is actually the Hurricane Rosa, which has been downgraded to the tropical storm. And it had just passed the peninsula and it went forward to the desert. And as we can see, our USC campus is kind of really lucky because we don't get affected. However, we're gonna expect higher chances for rainy in the Tuesday. I've always got this. I've always got this question. It's like, do LA people actually bring umbrella when they encounter the rain? It's like really rare.
I think it's going to be crazy. I have no idea what I'm going to do when the rain comes.
Yeah, I have to say, I might have a rain jacket. I definitely do not have an umbrella. So good to know what's coming up.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Draco.
Thank you, Draco. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti is determined to keep the City of Angels on the forefront of technology and advanced manufacturing. Annenberg Media's Natalie Ruxton has the story.
Robots, VR, and big data are the future of manufacturing, according to LA Mayor Eric Garcetti.
Looking at the new techniques that people can have to make sure that companies that will be left behind can be at the cutting edge.
The mayor spoke at an innovation lab in San Fernando Valley today about keeping Los Angeles at the forefront of the tech industry. But some say he's been focusing on small startup incubators and not the industries that are already in the valley.
Into Los Angeles, I think he's doing a good job feeding the little programs, little incubators. Pay attention to those locations which have historical legacy meaning.
The executive director of the Columbia Memorial Space Center says he's not quite sure how we prepare young people for future tech jobs.
The jobs are going to be completely different in the future, right? We're trying to educate them for foundational skills because we don't really exactly know what's going to happen in the future.
USC professor Siddhartha Gouda came to the event to talk to the mayor directly about the benefits of smart manufacturing. He says future jobs will require new skills.
I believe that, use of smart technologies will create lots of new exciting business opportunities. Working with computers is going to be part of it. And also, basically smart manufacturing uses a wide variety of automation technologies. So robotics, 3D printers. So being able to use these technologies is also equally important.
USC already has its own Center for Advanced Manufacturing, which opened last year. It focuses on developing technologies that will make the manufacturing industry as efficient as possible. For Annenberg Media, I'm Natalie Ruxton.
Now our sports anchor Keith DeMolder is here to talk some Trojan athletics to us.
Keith, we had a pretty big game on Sunday with our Trojans in the Bay.
Absolutely. Nikki and Trevor, it's not every day that you get to take on the #1 team in the nation and a hated rival, but USC women's soccer did both on Sunday in a battle of #1 and #2 against Stanford. The Los Angeles Dodgers were in action today and were in a battle for their playoff lives against the Colorado Rockies. We have Sam Scalbania in studio to break down a wild finish to the MLB season. Although Flag Day might be on June 14th, the holiday came a little bit early for USC as the Trojans racked up 18 penalties for 169 yards in Saturday's win over Arizona. Get your popcorn ready. Annenberg TV Sports is next.
Recently, our country has witnessed catastrophic devastation. Hurricanes and flooding have upended lives and livelihoods.
Across this great country, Americans have answered the call.
That special calling that compels us when others are down
to step up and do whatever it takes.
America's at her best when, against all odds, we come together and lift each other up.
Please donate to oneamericaappeal.org. America needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Much like the peppermint shakes time at Chick-fil-A, all good things must come to an end. This past weekend was no different for USC Soccer, whose 11-game unbeaten streak was snapped this Sunday at Stanford in overtime. The Trojans started their weekend with an overtime winner at Cal, thanks to midfielder Ashley Plumpter being at the right place in the right time. Her game-winning goal came off a collision in front of the net between Penelope Hawking and Amanda Zodikoff. On Sunday, the women of Troy went to OT again, but were less fortunate this time as Sophia Smith sent in the game-winning goal for Stanford to give USC its first loss of the season. Back-to-back weeks, try back-to-back blocks. After Jay Tufele's block against Washington State, senior safety Marvell Tell III wanted to get on the action as well with a block of his own on Saturday night. Tell was named Pac-12 Special Teams Player of the Week today for his block in USC's 24-21 win over Arizona. USC's third win of the year featured big plays defensively from Tell and offensively from running back Aka Cedric Ware. Tell talked after the game about his key second quarter interception.
Started quarterback scramble. I knew he'd like to, throw the ball up in scrambling situations, so I just kind of read him and made the play.
The Trojans are back in practice for bye-week preparations as they look to game plan for the undefeated Colorado Buffaloes in 2 weeks. Although USC blew out Colorado 38-24 last season, head coach Clay Helton believes that the Trojans' 18 penalties against Arizona must improve going forward.
Frustrating the whole way through. I thought it was a hard game for T to call, being backed up, and all of a sudden you look up when it's 1st and 15 or 1st and 20. There was a lot of yellow on both sides, both teams. It was one of those nights. But some of the fundamental technique things, that we've got to get better at. The things that I'm going to point out to the team are some of the decision-making penalties that hurt us.
While the Trojans have the week off, Sam Scalabania and the LA Dodgers are hard at work as the MLB season came to a close today. Sam, what's the latest from Chavez Ravine?
Thanks, Keith. Well, Sky Rockets were in flight this afternoon at Dodger Stadium. The boys in blue took down the Colorado Rockies 5-2 in a tie-breaking game to decide the NL West champion. The Dodgers got on the board in the fourth with Cody Bellinger. Bartender, make it a double shot. Max Muncy scores, Dodgers 2-zip. 1 inning later, Muncy gets thirsty too and rips his own 2-run shot, his 35th on the year. Dodgers, though, pitching staff stumbled in the 9th, but old reliable Kenley Jansen came in and closed up shop. Dodgers win 5-2 and the NL West title. With their win, the Dodgers secured home field advantage in the divisional round against the Atlanta Braves that starts on Thursday. The 2018 playoff begins this Thursday here in LA. USC made sure to show their support for the Los Doyers before the game today. Tweeting today, we are hashtag LA determined. Let's go at Dodgers, hashtag game 163. The regular season may not have been what fans had in mind, but the Dodgers have a chance to return to the World Series with their win today. Keith, today was big. Back to you.
Speaking of big wins, the #1 USC Water Polo team hosted #5 ranked UC Santa Barbara this weekend and did what they do best, score goals. The Trojans turned the pool into a jacuzzi this past Saturday with hot play against the Gauchos as Haynes Dobby netted 4 goals in a big 16-2 victory. Goalie Sam Krudenog said the team isn't worried about the regular season and that their eyes are focused on a national title. The top-ranked USC men's water polo team will travel up north this weekend to face Stanford. ranked number 4 in the nation. Guys, huge games this weekend. Hopefully USC women's soccer can get back on track.
Thank you so much, Keith. The 100th year of LA Philharmonic is happening around the city.
USC Thornton students and faculty are hyped about bringing classical music back to life.
Hey guys, Danny Trejo here. There was going to be a whole song and dance routine about how you should wait your turn to enter the train. But they got me, Danny Trejo, to talk to you instead. Look, when you don't wait your turn to enter the train, it's rude and potentially dangerous. And believe me, I know a thing or two about rude and dangerous. I'm Danny Trejo. Don't be like rude, dude. Be kind, like super kind. Excuse me.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
As the city celebrates the 100th year of the LA Philharmonic, USC Thornton students and professors are looking to the future of classical music. Their biggest concern, bringing classical music to a younger audience.
I think early exposure is definitely key to getting people interested and realizing that you don't have to come at it with a bunch of knowledge beforehand. It can be something that is experienced on multiple levels.
The greatest duty as musicians is to engage with the younger generations so that they will be our future audience, so that they can be feel engaged and comfortable in the concert hall, whether they're performing or just sitting and watching.
Music professors aren't the only ones thinking about bringing their work to a new audience. Pulitzer Prize-winning music critic Tim Page has just finished a book about the Philharmonic. He says everyone should give classical music a chance.
People say, oh, I don't like classical music because they haven't often experienced it, and you know, it belongs to everybody.
Philharmonic and other organizations are holding events around the city to celebrate Centennial and bring classical music to a new generation.
What an amazing story.
Really is.
Thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Trevor Sahaki.
And I'm Nikki Walker. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. Good night.